My flight left Newark, New Jersey about 7:30 in the evening, and we flew all night long. And of course, in the morning when I woke up, we were still over the North Atlantic Ocean. But several hours later, we passed Cape Verde Islands, which are just off the coast of Africa, and then we crossed the equator, and now we were in the South Atlantic Ocean. And some 15 hours later, straight through flight, we approached the city of Johannesburg, South Africa. The first thing that I noticed when I landed in Africa is how friendly and helpful the people are. So after going through customs and getting my passport stamped and picking up my suitcases, we headed for the hotel. And the next morning, we took a shuttle from Johannesburg to Eswatini. It's the coolest little country in Africa, formerly known as Swaziland. The continent of Africa contains 54 countries, and Eswatini, which is located right here, is one of the smallest ones. And in fact, it is the only absolute monarchy remaining in Africa. So we reached the border and had our passports stamped, and then we entered the country of Swaziland. Now, the first thing you notice when you cross into Swaziland are the mountains. Beautiful, spectacular mountains. Also sugarcane fields, lots and lots of sugarcane fields. Now, for the next 6 weeks, I stayed in farming country, and they had these canals that they built years ago to bring water from the river for irrigation. Swaziland, now known as Eswatini, has a favorable climate for sugarcane cultivation and also pineapples. These two crops are key contributors to the country's economy and employment. Across the road from where I stayed was a huge pineapple field and monkeys. Eswatini has more than its share of poor people. About 60% of the people that live in the country live in poverty. This is downtown Malkerns, and the ShopRite is just one of the grocery stores here in town. Good morning, everybody. Okay, so do any of you play any musical instruments? Do you play any music?
No. In expressive arts.
Do you sing?
Yes.
Do you sing in school?
Yes.
Oh, that's good. That's good. What song do you know? What can you sing for me? Okay, all right, sing a song. Let me hear. I'm glad to have met you all. Thank you very much. Yes. And can you believe it? There's a Kentucky Fried Chicken right here in Malkerns. The Gables Shopping Center is an upscale mall not too far from Malkerns. It's got some very nice stores here. When it comes to tourism, Eswatini goes all out. The Summerfield Resort is just one of many beautiful places to stay if you come to visit the country. Now, not too far from Malkerns is the Noenga Glass. And this is a tourist attraction, a producer of glass products made from 100% recycled glass. The grounds around this factory were as beautiful as the products that they make inside. And of course, we visited this store where I had to buy some keepsakes to bring back to America. And soon it was time to go back to Malkerns. Now here's a very common sight that you see as you're driving around the countryside. Now the Cuddle Puddle is a natural hot spring, and they built this nice pool. The hot water comes in one end of the pool and goes out the other, so it's always fresh water moving through this pool, and it's very warm. And this is one of my favorite places. We visited this outdoor market many times and bought fresh fruit and vegetables.
So now we are visiting around the home just to see how a Eswatini home used to look like and how a Eswatini used to live.
And here we are dressed in traditional Swazi outfits. And after we watched the cultural dancers, we took a short walk down to see the beautiful Mantanga waterfalls.
Okay. Ready? One.
And next in our adventure was the Heleni Royal National Park. This park is the largest protected area in the Kingdom of Eswatini, and initially it was a hunting ground until it was declared a national park in 1967. We stayed overnight in the park, and they didn't have any more small places, and so we ended up staying in this family-sized cottage. All of these accommodations are beautiful and so clean. Spotlessly clean. And we could look right out our front door at the lake where all the animals came to drink. Now, they allowed people to take self-drives through the park. They give you a map, and as we drove around, we spotted these rhinoceros, and it turned out to be kind of a rare sighting, but there are many beautiful animals, and we made it back right about at sunset. Okay, so we signed up for the morning game drive, and so we woke up at 5 a.m. and we met our guide here in the Land Rover about 5:45, and we started on our adventure, this time with a guided tour. It was foggy that morning, and as we drove along through this clearing, this open area, you could still see the fog close to the ground there. And it turned out that I took one of my favorite photos from the entire trip right here at this park. This big beautiful elephant appeared out of the fog. We were told that yesterday this elephant charged one of the land cruisers. They can be pretty dangerous. And so our driver today, he kept his distance. So along the way, our guide stopped in a safe place for a coffee break.
Gain access to the...
Okay, other one. The animal kingdom. Okay, other one. Very much, Muzi. That was really nice. Very educational.
Manzini is the second largest city in the country. It is known as the hub of Eswatini, a commercial center from the time a trading post was opened in 1885. So this city is a very lively place, and the vendors at the Manzini market sell a wide variety of goods and services. The Manzini market is also a very popular tourist destination.
Jesus be, always be wonderful to me.
Now this is an interesting place. Sababy Rock is the largest exposed granite rock in the world. Many people hike up to the top of this rock, but of course we took the road to the mountaintop. A long and steep and treacherous road leads up to the Sababy Resort. This certainly was a once-in-a-lifetime adventure. And here we have a baptism at the river. On the way home, we drove through Baban, which is the capital city of Swaziland.
Ruth's Caroline was dating an Indian that was dead.
Now, when you go to Swaziland, you want to make sure you visit Pig's Peak. It's a town in northwestern mountainous region, and it's named after this early resident, this William Pig, who was a French prospector, and he discovered gold up there. And there's kind of a funny story that his son married a girl with the surname Hogg. So we had a pig marrying a hog. But anyway, the Pig's Peak area is one of the most beautiful mountainous areas you'll ever see. So we drove north from Malkerns to Pig's Peak.
I'll just take you in there.
And so up here on the top of this mountain is the village of Pigs Peak. While we visited the Pigs Peak area, we stayed at the Pigs Peak Hotel and Casino. I bought some wood carvings from this fella to give to my grandchildren.
Look at that.
Now this is just another site that you'll see up here on the mountains, and it's where they plant all these trees, and this is an area where they've just harvested these trees, and they clear cut them and they burn the brush.
Got your belt on.
Then after some time they'll replant, and I guess it takes about 20 years for these trees to mature enough so that they can be cut and taken to the mill. Pine trees and eucalyptus. And here you can see those new trees that they've planted. Now next we decided to visit the Popignani waterfalls, and you drive down this dirt road. It seems like all of these resorts, to get there, they have these dirt roads that you travel down, and it's beautiful, but boy, some of them are pretty rough. So here we are entering the little resort here, and the first thing you do is check in at that building right there. As you can see, going down these steps, it's turned out to be a pretty steep walk. We decided it might be in our best interest to turn it around and go back up. But it was still a beautiful day and a beautiful walk down through there along the river. On the way to Pigs Peak, we crossed the Kanami River, and right there is where they built the Magula Dam. So after we visited the Pigs Peak area, we drove down to see this dam. This dam was completed in 2001, and it was a joint project between the governments of South Africa and Eswatini. The dam's primary purpose is irrigation for sugarcane and forestry, and about 1,000 of Eswatini's small farmers. It also includes a hydroelectric power station. So coming down the hill from Pigs Peak, this vantage point gave us a nice place for a picture. And when we got down there, we stopped for lunch, and it happened that this restaurant was right on the back side of the dam. So you had a good view of the back side. And there's that electric power station right there. So this concluded our tour of the Pigs Peak area.
And so the United States,
It was a pleasure to talk to this very well-behaved group. And when I told them I was a music teacher, they offered to sing their national anthem for me. I also spoke to the children at the Malkerns Learning Center, where they had a chance to ask me questions about where I live in the United States of America. There are no school buses in Swaziland. When we get to the bottom of this long and steep mountain road, we'll visit a sawmill down there. In Eswatini, forestry is big business. The fertile land is fantastic for growing trees, and strong wood goes into construction boards, scaffolding, posts, mining braces, poles, chipboard, timber planks, etc. Eswatini also exports wood pulp and a variety of paper products to South Africa and regional countries. Swazi Candles is quite a tourist attraction. They have their own special way of making these beautiful candles here. And also there's all kinds of crafts that are sold. And here we see some guys that are carving animals and various statues out of wood. This goes on all day long. And here we are in the actual candle making area. And they're very happy to have people come in and they'll spend time talking to the children about how the candles are made and so on. Here you can see this fellow is making an elephant candle. Now, being a musician, I was really looking forward to going to the Bushfire Music Festival. The Bushfire Music Festival is held every year right here in the small community of Malkerns. MTM Bushfire is Eswatini's internationally acclaimed music and arts festival. It celebrates creative expression while promoting social responsibility, stimulating the economy, and drawing talent and as many as 20,000 tourists from across Africa and around the world. The festival gives back to the people of Eswatini with 100% of the profits donated to 2 Swazi charities. The amphitheater provided another venue away from the main stage. One of the most entertaining groups at the amphitheater were the Congo Cowboys. So right here in this little town of Malkerns, they hold this big music festival every year. We had a great time at the Bushfire Music Festival. Swaziland is a landlocked country surrounded by South Africa, and it also shares a border with Mozambique. In the second part of our vacation, we traveled north across the border into the beautiful country of South Africa. So we left Swaziland and traveled about 3 hours to a little town in South Africa called Hazyview. We booked lodging at the Hippo Hollow Country Estate, and we chose a cabin located on the river's edge. I enjoy wildlife photography, and the deck on the back of the cabin overlooked the river and provided a good view of the river and the wildlife down below. I took my camera and walked down to the river's edge, which was probably not the smartest idea I ever had, because this critter was down there. I learned later that this is a monitor lizard. It's the largest lizard in the world, and it's fast, smart, and venomous. The next morning, I took my coffee and walked out to the deck and saw these beautiful elephants coming down the hill. Oh, that's what's going on. They're providing elephant rides for tourists. I spent a very pleasant afternoon watching wildlife at the river. They call it Hippo Hollow for a reason, and they warn people not to walk around at night. These hippos are big and dangerous. God's Window is one of the most scenic vantage points in all of South Africa. It's situated along the panoramic route in the Mpumalanga province. You just have to look down to realize why it has been given this special name. Now, it was quite a steep walk up this pathway to the top, but oh, what a view! And on the way down, we met this friendly guy who claimed he was from Pennsylvania. We met this guy at God's Window up 1,000 feet. And he claims, where are you from?
I'm from Pennsylvania, sir. I'm staying there. I'm a farmer there in the Pennsylvania area. Ons is Afrikaners. Ons bly in Suid-Afrika. Ons wil vir die mense van Amerika sê, "Hallo guys, ons is Suid-Afrikaners en ons bly lekker hier. We are enjoying it here in South Africa."
Okay, now tell me what you just said.
I said, we are staying here in South Africa. We like it here in South Africa. We love our country and we are pure South Africans.
Thank you, man. You guys have a good day.
The same to you guys.
Bye-bye. Bork's Luck Potholes is named after a gold prospector named Tom Bork. It's located within the Blyde River Canyon Nature Reserve in South Africa. This geological wonder was formed over an immense span of time by powerful river currents. The rocks carried by the river act like abrasive tools, constantly grinding away at the bedrock, which produce the round potholes. Now, this was quite an adventure walking down the pathway to where we could get a view of these potholes. They had a bridge that spanned the canyon, as you can see in the background there, and it was just a spectacular view. These pictures really don't do it justice. The colors were absolutely beautiful in that canyon. The Grasskop Gorge lift starts with a viewing elevator that takes you 50 meters down a cliff face into a cool mountain indigenous forest.
Behind flat stand.
There are elevated wooden walking pathways and suspension bridges that wind their way through the forest, across streams, and past the waterfalls. When we came back up out of the gorge, the adventure continues for those people brave enough to ride the zip line across the gorge. lunchtime, and this place may not look like much, but what better place to eat lunch than at the Chubby Pig? Feel free to pig out. And you know what? The food was really good. It was just another adventure on a dusty dirt road. The world-renowned Kruger National Park is an enormous and magnificent park and one of the most popular game parks in the world. We visited just the southern tip of the huge park. I could hardly believe that I was about to go on safari in Africa. I had my cameras handy and I was ready for this once-in-a-lifetime adventure.
Keep it going. Keep it going.
There we go, through the river.
Keep it going. Keep it going.
There we go.
All right, we made it.
All right.
Now, if you travel to South Africa, visiting the famous Kruger Park is a must, and we stayed at the Shishingani Private Lodge. Now, the lodge grounds are completely fenced in and safe, and they have these wooden walkways that lead down to your cabin. There were lights that lit this pathway at night, and as you walked along you could hear the hippos and other animals that were walking along on the outside of the perimeter of the grounds. So here I am at cabin number 2. As usual, our accommodations were amazing, always beautiful and spotlessly clean. The bathroom in this cabin was especially unique with its outdoor shower. A monkey greeted us on the back deck.
These things make you laugh, I tell you.
We arrived at our lodge and were directed to our cabin, and then we were scheduled for an evening game drive. This is Solomon, our guide, and he was a good one. I am fascinated by elephants, and as we rounded a corner, this group appeared in the bush. What a magnificent sight! Then this elephant appeared with her newborn baby. Solomon said it was probably born a short time ago.
Oh my word!
Oh, like a mammoth. Good job, Jim.
Oh, that's a beautiful.
Elephants are smart, and they are just as curious as we are. These big bull elephants can be dangerous, especially during the mating season. And as this big boy approached our Land Cruiser, some people started to get nervous. Not me. I was taking pictures.
Protesting, he doesn't want us to be there.
Elephants live in herds consisting of females and their calves. The herds are matriarchal, meaning they are led by one female, while the males, like this big bull here, tend to roam alone. This little guy is a little sassy. Now, the elephant is one of what they refer to as the Big Five in Africa. Next is the lion, and here we go. And these deer are always on the lookout. These giraffe don't seem to be in any hurry. Now, every day when you're on safari, they'll stop for a coffee break. And they make sure it's in a nice, safe place. And they'll stop and they have coffee and cookies, and you can get out of the truck for a little bit and stand around and chat. These dirt roads go on for miles and miles in the Kruger Park. I think it's a good idea to have a guide. And as we returned to our lodge, we passed by this flock of birds. And every time we came back from a safari, there were always people there to greet us, and they'll hand out these warm, wet towels so you can wash your face and hands.
Hello. How are you? Hello. Welcome back.
The next morning, we got up bright and early, and we got ready for our game drive, and we spotted this herd of buffalo. Yeah.
He's still looking at us.
And this big buffalo posed for a nice picture.
We're good? So it's many.
And where there's water buffalo, the lions are not far behind, and we spotted this pride of lions.
Yeah, I'm coming going on the road.
There's 5 lions.
Soon the light started to fade, and before we knew it, it was dark time. And we were headed back to the lodge, and as we went, Solomon took his spotlight and he continually searched the side of the roads. It's 5 a.m. and I'm ready to go. Now on this game drive, Solomon took us down to the Crocodile River, and there were a lot of hippos down there. They're big and dangerous. Listen to the sounds they make. And if you look closer, you'll see why they call this the Crocodile River. Yep.
See that? Oh, you made it for it. You made it come. You position. You go say one cover for it. One cover. You put up one to one hour.
And now I've seen all of Africa's big five. The elephant, lion, buffalo, rhino, and finally this beautiful leopard. And suddenly he jumped up and he spotted something and he started to creep off. And that's when all the deer and the water buffalo started to react. And suddenly it was just chaos. The deer would run and then they'd stop. And the buffalo would do the same. And then pretty soon they'd do an about face and run the other direction. Now this was really something, but we never did see that leopard again. And then these hyenas appeared.
Yeah.
So it flies.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fresh.
It doesn't look like it could get off the ground.
So this was a pretty exciting day, and we saw a lot of different animals. But the lights started to fade, and so we headed back to our camp. Our last game drive started off with a warthog and its family. Now, that's the one good-looking warthog right there. And then there are the buzzards. And I got a kick out of these birds. They're quite a bird, aren't they? Oop, here we go. And here comes number 3. And there's touchdown. Now on this trip, I learned that no two zebras have the exact same stripes. Each pattern is unique, much like the human fingerprint. And then it was time for our coffee break again, and we had our coffee and watched these deer. we started back to our lodge from this spectacular day on safari, but we stopped one last time for this beautiful African sunset. South Africa has 9 provinces. We traveled to Pietermaritzburg, which is the capital of the province of KwaZulu-Natal. We stayed at the Ascot Bush Lodge while we were in Pietermaritzburg. We enjoyed a delicious breakfast, and then we drove into the city so that I could meet Bernadine's family. They put on a wonderful welcome party for me. I had a lovely time and met her sisters and extended family, and oh, the food was so delicious. Next, we visited the port city of Durban, right on the Indian Ocean. I said that I wanted to stick my toe in the Indian Ocean, and so we drove straight to the beach. Bernadine's sister and family were wonderful hosts, and they treated us to a bus tour of Durban. This street performer put on quite a show. Durban is the 3rd most populous city in South Africa after Johannesburg and Cape Town. There is no city in South Africa quite like Durban. Because of its subtropical coastal climate, warm seas, safe swimming beaches, its variety of restaurants and nightlife, and many sporting facilities, Durban has always been a holiday city, popular with both domestic and international visitors.
Not allowed to enter here in Durban Port with the captain from.
And next we drove past white sandy beaches and the beautiful Indian Ocean on Durban's Golden Mile.
I sailed right up to.
And yes, we have Kentucky Fried Chicken in Durban. We had a great time in Durban and Pietermaritzburg, and on our way back to Swaziland, we decided to stop at another beautiful beach town called St. Lucia, right on the Indian Ocean. It's only about a 5-hour flight from Cape Town to Antarctica, but this was probably as close as I'll ever get. We flew from Swaziland to Johannesburg, where we switched planes, and then it was on to Cape Town. Total flight time of about 3 hours. As I looked out the window of the airplane, I was in awe of the rugged mountains down below. We had planned a 3-day action-packed schedule, and soon we landed in South Africa's 2nd largest city. We rented a car and drove to Sea Point, which would be our home away from home for the next 3 days. Our tour guide, Kendra, suggested that the hop-on, hop-off tour bus was a good way to get the lay of the land in Cape Town. You can jump on and off at any of the pickup points. Our lodging was only a block away from one of these pickup points. I was fascinated by these big swimming pools that were built on one of Cape Town's beautiful sandy beaches. There is so much to see and do in this city. Did you know that Cape Town has been named World's Best City for Travelers several times? I began to get the idea that Cape Town was a real adventure city. Maybe I can do this while I'm here. This is the Time Ball Tower. Years ago, they would drop that ball at a predetermined time, allowing navigators to adjust their timekeeping devices. In the early 1900s, Muizenberg Beach was one of the most sought-after destinations in South Africa. One of the main reasons it gained its notoriety was surfing. They say that surfing in South Africa was born here. But we went to see the Muizenberg Beach huts. They looked like they were colored with a box of crayons. They're a calling card for visitors and photographers alike. I hope you will bear with me for this next one as I introduce you to Sam the Seagull. I asked him if he would give me a demonstration of his superior flying ability. He said sure, and away he went. Now you have to admit, Sam has what it takes. He's my number one seagull. Stay with me now. Sam is about to make a perfect landing at the same place he took off from, right at my feet. Bravo, Sam, bravo. We are taking the bus to Table Mountain. This is a flat-top mountain overlooking Cape Town. No matter where you are in Cape Town, you can see it. It rises about 3,500 feet above sea level, and when you get to the base of the mountain, you can take a cable car up to the top. So we bought our tickets, and here we are in the cable car. And as this thing goes up the cable, it also rotates, giving everybody a 360-degree view. Wait a minute, isn't that Joe Biden right there? Well, anyway, that's the top right there, and in a few minutes we'll reach that staging area. Okay, we made it.
Okay, you're losing it.
Table Mountain National Park attracts about 4 million people every year, and I can see why. Now, as you look from left to right, that pointed mountain right there is called Lion's Head. And then you can see Robbins Island out there, and Signal Hill, and then there's the Cape Town City Center and Table Bay. That's Devil's Peak over to the right. It's a large plateau up at the top, actually a couple miles wide, they say, and this is looking off the back side. This cableway was built in 1929, and it's been refurbished 3 times since. In the third upgrade, they added these Swiss-made large gondolas, which will hold 65 people. Here are a few pictures that I took from the top of Table Mountain. Okay, so here we are going back down. We're coming in. Table Mountain was awesome. And next, let's go see some African penguins. We decided to explore the southern part of the Cape Peninsula, so we drove from Sea Point to a place called Boulder Beach. There were African penguins down there. You can see how the area got its name. There are large granite boulders up and down the beach. Apparently in 1982, 2 pair of these African penguins showed up here and decided to stay. Once extremely numerous, the African penguin is classified now as critically endangered. Oh look, here comes a pair of penguins ashore now. These little penguins are also called jackass penguins due to the loud donkey-like sound they make. We left Boulder Bay and traveled south all the way down to Cape Point. It is located on the extreme southwestern tip of the African continent. We're going up to the lighthouse that you can see on the top of the mountain there. Now you can walk up to the lighthouse, or they have what they call a funicular railway that you can ride to the top of this steep mountain. In this system, there are 2 cars on the funicular railway, and they're attached by the same cable to a pulley at the top. And it's operated by an electric motor, but the weight of the car coming down helps to pull the other car up the mountain. It's a pretty cool idea and a pretty cool ride. And now you have to walk the rest of the way up to see the old lighthouse. This old lighthouse is quite the tourist attraction. They built a new lighthouse in 1911, and this old one is no longer used. There's a reason they decided to build the new lighthouse. This lighthouse here sits too high above the ocean, and ships approaching from the east could see the lighthouse too easily, often causing them to approach too closely. And because of this, they often wrecked on the rocks before they rounded the peninsula. After the wreck of the Lusitania in 1911, they decided to build a new lighthouse in a different location. And now I can say I've seen the southern tip of Africa. Bye-bye. And after our visit at Cape Point, we traveled west to the Cape of Good Hope. This area has quite a history and is still important to ships traveling from Europe to Asia. It's situated at the halfway point and just before ships go around the southern tip of Africa. This is a rugged and remote area, and there are baboons roaming around at the Cape of Good Hope. They warn tourists not to feed them and to lock their car doors. As I looked out over the ocean and the rocky, windy coastline, I can see why Bartholomew Diaz called it the Cape of Storms when he discovered it in 1488. By the mid-1600s, the Dutch East India Company had established a refreshment station at the Cape. This was the beginning of European settlement of this area. We said goodbye to the Cape of Good Hope and drove northward and across the peninsula to one of the most scenic drives in the world. Chapman's Peak Drive is located in this area here, high above the ocean. A curvy 5-mile road has been carved out of the rocky cliff, providing a spectacular view of wide beaches the ocean's crashing waves and towering sandstone cliffs. Okay, so this is a toll road. So we stop here and pay our toll, and then we're on our way. And right off the bat, you can see these tall sandstone cliffs, and they've got nets up there to catch the falling rocks, hopefully. And this must have been quite an engineering feat right here. Along the drive, they've provided these viewing areas where you can park your car and take in the spectacular views. At the end of Chapman's Peak Drive, we got a picture postcard view of Hout Bay, our next destination. As I looked across the bay, I noticed a castle situated on the mountainside. The Liechtenstein Castle is a replica of a castle in southern Germany and was built by a German builder, Rainier Fritz. It was completed in 1998. Lunchtime, and we'll have some fish on the rocks. And now we're driving back to Cape Town along miles of white sandy beaches and beautiful oceanfront homes. We're finishing our South Africa vacation at the Cape Town Harbor. The Port of Cape Town's history extends clear back to 1652, when the Dutch East India Company established a station here to supply fresh fruit and vegetables and fresh water to their ships traveling to India and beyond. The first section of the harbor was called the Alfred Basin, named after Queen Victoria's son. After gold and diamonds were discovered in the area, the harbor was not big enough to accommodate the increased number of ships coming there, and so the Victoria Basin was built. The construction of the two harbor basins took place between 1860 and 1920, and today this is known as the Victoria and Alfred Waterfront. There are still several beautiful old buildings from that era here. And of course, you can't come to Cape Town without visiting Robben Island. Back in the apartheid era, political prisoners were taken to a prison on Robben Island. And of course, this is where Nelson Mandela was held. We took a guided tour of the facility. This is a view of Table Mountain in Cape Town from Robben Island. This was a beautiful sight and a wonderful way to end our fabulous vacation in South Africa.